Like 594. Really? That's how many? How many don't like 594? All right. So we have, she mentioned 2 years, and then we have the chance to take it off the books. 594, this next session, hits our chance to take it off the books. What do we need?
Control of the house.
We need control of the House. We have, if we can get people out to vote, get control of the House, we can get rid of 594. We have that chance.
3 seats away.
There you go. One more reason why we really need, we're definitely pushing voting in this rally, I understand that, but there's a lot of importance this particular rally on why we need to vote. Our next speaker, real quick, is Travis Couture. He's a former 35th District State Senate candidate. Travis, come on up. Can I say anything quickly?
Hi, I'm Travis Couture. I'm from Allen and Mason County, the 35th District, which, by the way, now is a red district, a totally red district. And before I start off, I'd like to point out we have an elected official, my good friend, and also my neighbor, Dan Griffey, here today, who is A+ rated and endorsed by the NRA, and is a staunch protector of our gun rights and our right to keep and bear arms. I work on one pretty simple premise, well, it's to start with, when it comes to guns. An armed man is a citizen, and an unarmed man is a subject. And that leads me to my next point. Bob Ferguson, Attorney General Bob Ferguson. Remember this name. This is a man that wants to take away your semi-automatic rifles. He wants to reduce the amount of, he wants to reduce the magazine size that you can carry in your .22. It's totally ridiculous. This man only says this in this state because he thinks he's in a safe race, because there's not a Republican running against him, and that's why we all need to rally behind Josh Trumbull and get him elected. He says this at a time when Jay Inslee is allowing Syrian refugees to flood into Seattle, and the director of the FBI in Seattle has over 70 open terrorism cases, and they want to take away our right to defend ourselves against this. And we've seen how that turns out. We saw how it turned out in Florida. We saw how it turned out in Boston. We saw how it turned out in New York. We have to have the right to defend ourselves. It's not negotiable. Adina pretty much stole most of my lines about the initiative. 594 is not even enforceable. They have no money for it. They have no way to enforce it. It's just, there's a larger picture here. It's just inching us, conditioning us for what is to be the final step, which is to eliminate them all. And we have to stop it every step of the way. With this new initiative, my ex-wife could have a vendetta against me and say, I don't feel safe that Travis has guns. Or maybe somebody that has a vendetta against you can say they don't feel safe because you have guns. And without due process of law, government stormtroopers could pound down your door and take away your guns and keep them for 6 years, and maybe you can beg on your hands and your knees to the court to get them back. But we all know you're not going to get them back. They're going to melt them down into some peace plaques. That we cannot allow that to happen. I refuse to believe that this law is going to pass. I think that people in the west southern parts, what I call the timber Democrats, the more conservative Democrats who may have been a part of a union or maybe big into labor, But they still love their guns. They still live in rural places where sometimes the sheriff can't reach their house in over a half an hour. They need their guns to protect themselves. To them, a gun is not some fancy thing to keep as a safe queen. It's a tool, it's a way of life, and they have to be able to have them. And this is why candidates like Jim Walsh in the 19th District are winning in Grays Harbor County. This is reasons why Dan Griffey is winning in a landslide right now in a timber area like the 35th District. We are starting to take these places over because the radical agenda of the left is becoming even too palpable for Democrats who were once come to that party because of John F. Kennedy. My friend Dinah brought up a good point to me earlier, that this isn't about just white guys and their guns. I want gays to have their guns. I want women to be able to, the single mom to be able to defend herself and her kids. This is about all of us. Our civil rights really do matter. And if you're armed, you're a citizen, and then if you're unarmed, you're a subject. The media loves their First Amendment rights as long as they can talk about whatever they want to talk about and shut us up. Well, the Second Amendment is the amendment that protects the rest of our rights. To us, in an order of precedence, the Second Amendment is our First Amendment. And they just, one step at a time, lie after lie. The media likes to make up stuff like, did any of you hear about the bullet button? Oh, we got to stop these bullet buttons. Once you press that bullet button, it becomes a fully automatic weapon. Well, it's totally ridiculous because the bullet button is actually a little tool you insert just so you can get the magazine out of the well. They have no clue what they're talking about, and they prey off the ignorance of our neighbors and our friends and our families. And they prey on their fear, which brings me to schools. We do see a lot of school shootings. But we all know that putting up a gun-free zone sign isn't going to save anybody. We need common sense reforms in our schools that actually protect our kids. And that could be any of a number of good ideas that I've seen out there before. Arm the teachers. Lock down the school. Have security cameras. You know, there's ways to shut the doors and get them locked so they can't get in. There's a lot of different good ideas out there. But they won't accept them because it's not about solving the problem. It's about ripping open the gash and pouring salt in it and really making people afraid so that ultimately they can get to their end game, which is to take them away. I'll tell you what, if 1491 ever becomes law, and we get to a point where we got the stormtroopers beating down our door to take away our guns, I'm pretty sure I'm safe to say in a crowd like this, and I'm pretty sure you'll feel like me as well, that they're going to have to take them from my cold, dead hands and wade through a sea of casings to come and get them. I'm not running for anything. I'm actually a recovered political candidate. So, you know, I've run a couple times. I lost by like 1% each time. Maybe someday in the future, I don't know. I'm not really thinking about that. But there's a lot of things we can do, and it starts talking to your neighbors, talking to your family, and get them, like Adina said, registered to vote. Get them voting for the right cause. We can do this. We can stop these gun control measures, and we can elect pro-gun representatives. Every journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, and it's up to us to take that first step. Thank you.